What is your go-to dance move?
Pew, 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 pew.
Here we go. What day is today? Today is Q&A.
Woo! When you were doing that, I was like, what are you doing? I forgot about the song.
Yeah, all right, hit me.
We're just jumping in?
Yeah.
Okay, so we guys asked you to ask us some questions on Instagram.
Okay.
And anything goes. So,
I forgot about our intro.
okay, what did you almost name Oakland and Halston?
That's a question?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's a good one.
Because we almost had names for both of them.
I almost named Oakland
You.
Avery.
Yeah, we almost named Oakland Avery, and we almost named Halston Embry. Avery and Embry, Oakland and Halston.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Except even when we had Oakland as Oakland, we were still going to name Halston Embry. We weren't going to go with like the AN endings.
I've always wanted to name our kids Ivan. That was like my name I've been holding on to since I was like a young... Ever since I watched the Rocky movie. For those of you that are Rocky fans, you know who Ivan Drago is. I wanted my son to be named Ivan.
And if you guys don't know our last name, his name would be Ivan Eisenman.
Yeah, I think that's cool, but
Come on and tell him that that's stupid.
Her whole family shot me down.
That ain't happening. He can get himself a pet and name it that.
All right, what's next?
Do you find value in tithing? I like that one.
What does that mean, value? Just like think it's a good thing to do?
Yeah.
Answer.
It's a great thing to do. We have been tithing since we got married and even on our own before that. And it's just been very obvious to me that when we give our first fruits to God, He is blessing us for that because I know that's what He wants us to do.
Yeah, I would say tithing has probably played one of the biggest impacts in my life out of anything. I mean, it's probably top 10 of like the biggest hard hitters in my life.
I think the best part of it is that when you're tithing your first fruits, like the first 10% is teaching you to not have an attachment to money. Like, you know, right when you get your money, giving it away can be hard for some people. But since once you get yourself in that practice, like giving it away, it just gives you a heart of giving. And you're not like, mine, it's my money, you know. Mm-hmm. It's God's money.
And I do think it's very important that when you tithe, to not tithe in expectation that you're going to receive more, mm-hmm. you know, because then you're not coming from the right place. But giving, just knowing like, wow, I am so blessed. Like God has blessed me so much to be able to have what I have that, yeah, I'm going to give a portion of it away because he calls us to do that. Oh, I'll say this about tithing. So when I was younger,
you need to make a whole video about tithing.
Yeah,
obviously.
I know. When I feel like the first time I ever really tithed that like stretched my faith, I received a lump sum of money when I was younger. Don't get any ideas. Don't think I'm like a multi-millionaire or anything like that, or even a millionaire. But I did receive some money. That was a lot of money for me when I was younger, and I wanted to give. You know, I felt like I should give 10% of it away, but it was like, wow, to give 10% of this away, that's like really hard. And then when I did that, the very next day, I made almost to the dollar, like that much money in a different way. I felt like that was God telling me, like,
I want you to tithe.
Yeah, I want you to tithe, and I got you.
Who's your childhood TV celebrity crush?
I want to say loved, but I liked the Olsen twins.
How childhood?
Mary Kate and Ashley.
How old are you going? Like 10? You were like 10 years old, maybe?
Probably like 19.
Childhood?
I'm just joking. No, I would say from like ages maybe like 10 to 13 or something.
Mine was Peter Pan. Jeremy Sumpter from the real Peter Pan movie. He was mine.
So your crush was like a man?
No, he was a little boy.
Oh, I thought in the real movie he was like a man.
No, you didn't even seen that movie. You told me you haven't.
Yeah, but I thought you showed me who he was.
Why haven't y'all been posting as much? Let's leave that one up to you.
Why is that up to me?
Because it is your fault, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, we take on too much, too many things we take on. So we're trying to figure out how to balance it all, and I love making YouTube videos, but also I don't want it ever to feel like an obligation or like a job, like, oh, we got to make a YouTube video.
Yeah, like we have to come up with something to talk about or something.
I want it to come more from like a fun place. So like we feel like God put a message on our heart to give to you guys or just something relevant. I don't want to feel like I have to come up with a video topic. But I do want to be consistent.
Yeah, and now that things are slowing down a little bit for us with the weddings, hopefully we're going to be getting a little bit better. If you were going to die tomorrow, how would you spend today? That's hard.
I think I would gather all of our family and just sit in a room together.
If I was going to die tomorrow, something I really want to do is go to, like, our church has a night of worship where they just play the music, and I love Elevation Church worship, like their songs and stuff. I've never been, but I would love to go to like their night of worship with our family. That would be really fun.
Mm-hmm. Which of you is the pickiest eater?
That was easy.
Not even close.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? I would say no. That's what one of them said.
What advice would you give to soon-to-be newlyweds? We actually just had this conversation with my brother and sister-in-law because they just got married. I think my advice to them was to pray together and make it a habit of praying together on a consistent basis and also praying for the other person individually. So like when you're not praying together, pray for the other person on your own time.
And mine was to outdo one another in showing honor, like, for me and Nathaniel, we have our little like our little chores and stuff. But I think it's nice to do those chores for the person. If like his job is taking out the trash, but if I see the trash full, I should take out the trash. I shouldn't just leave it there and be like, that's your job. But if you're both doing that, it just makes you a good team member, I feel like.
Who do you think's ahead?
Me.
You do?
Who do you think?
I guess it depends on how you look at things. Like chores around the house, but in other areas, I don't know. What would you do if one of your kids came out as bisexual, gay, or trans?
Never really thought about that, but I know that I would love them. Like, I think you love them through that, and you don't support it because, that's not what we believe in. So I wouldn't, support their actions, but I would still, of course, love them. And try to help them through that.
Yeah, I would love them for sure. I wouldn't change my love for them at all, but I would also, I feel like I'd be in the fight with them because I know it would be very tempting to act on their desires. And I would fight with them to resist the temptation to live in sin, like I will with all other sins. If you could change one thing about your life right now, what would it be? I think I would change a mindset that I have. I have a tendency to over-obsess about things. Like, I work really hard towards certain goals, but I feel like being attached to the outcome and, upset if the outcome doesn't come to fruition the way I want it to happen, that I hold on to those really strongly, where I want to just, be able to let go and just be like, yeah. I mean, I'll work hard, but, we'll see what God has planned for me. Which I feel like I do, but not as much as I want to do. What is your go-to dance move?
Pew, 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 pew. Oh my gosh. If we went to high school together, would we have dated each other?
Heck yeah, we would have. What do you think this is?
I don't know if I would have liked his high school self.
But I would have saw her and be like, what do I need to do? I'll be who you want me to be.
Yeah, that was definitely God's timing for us, is I feel like kind of when he became who I would have been interested in is right when we met, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you? I don't know if this is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me, but something that stands out in my mind was when I was younger, I was so easily embarrassed, painfully embarrassed. If people just looked at me, my face would just turn bright red. I didn't talk much. I didn't like to talk out loud in front of the class or anything. And I rode the bus home, and on the first day of school, when I did it, it was like my first time ever riding the bus. I didn't know anyone on there. I was like one of the younger kids. I accidentally got up on the wrong stop because it was like the closest to my house. I couldn't imagine the bus was going to get any closer to my house. So I got off, and then the bus driver was like driving beside me and opened the doors and like yelled at me like, "Get back on the bus, that was not your stop." Like I knew and I did not know. So like everyone on the bus was just like hearing her yell at me, and I had to get back on and literally ride on the bus for about 10 feet and then get back off. And it was like humiliating.
I don't think I've ever heard this story.
I'm pretty sure I went home and cried, and then the next day my mom like got on the bus and talked to that lady, which just made it even more embarrassing.
You know, Sutton's embarrassed when that face starts turning red.
Yeah.
If we talk about it for a couple seconds, it might turn red.
No,
Is it
now.
turning red?
No, now my face just has a mind of its own. Like it will turn red a lot, and I'm honestly not embarrassed. But when I was younger, whew, it was bad.
I like it. I think it shows her innocence.
Did you guys shop for an engagement ring together? That's interesting. I feel like a lot of people do that nowadays, which is kind of funny to me.
Kind of, not really. She showed me a ring that like she really liked on Pinterest.
No, I didn't show him. So my mom had rings that I liked, which she had, I think, even before I met him, because she didn't want me to know at all like when an engagement was coming. So she was like, "Hey, whenever the day comes, why don't you show me some rings that you like so I'll know?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I showed her, so she showed them to him, right?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, so her mom showed me a ring that she really liked that she had on her Pinterest board, and I did my goal to recreate it.
Yeah, I had no idea that our engagement was coming, which was so fun to me. Like, it's just funny to me when people pick out their ring together and they just know that it's coming. Like, sometimes I'll ask people, "So when are you guys going to get married?" And they're like, "Probably in the next month we'll get engaged." And I'm like, "How do you know that?"
Yeah, definitely not our style.
If you could go back in time and do over something, what would it be? Family Feud. I would go on that Family Feud, and that fifth game, we would answer the question right,
yeah.
and we would win that car.
That
Because
was so fun.
that has been replayed in our minds, like, over and over. Like, why? Why did we not say tennis?
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, we were on Family Feud a couple years back, and we won 4 games in a row, and we were one question away from winning the 5th game and winning a brand new car, and we got the last question wrong.
And the other team got it right, and they won. And then they didn't even win their next game, and they didn't win the $20,000, so we basically got beat for nothing. Are you joking?
No,
with
that's
that?
as close as I have to be.
Biggest highlight and low light in marriage.
That was our very first question today. Starting with a bang.
Yeah, that's a good one. I know my low light. We should start with the low and then work our way to the high.
You know your low light just like that?
Well, you know, I just feel like we haven't had very many, so the one that we have stands out to me.
Oh, what's a low light? Do you mean like the lowest moment we've ever had, or like
Yeah.
the lowest thing in general about marriage?
I was taking it as like a low moment.
Okay, a low moment.
And a high moment. My lowest point of our relationship, I don't know if this was not in marriage, but it is like to me the lowest point of our relationship. He had told me that he like has a desire to have a relationship with other girls or something like that. But his wording, like that was his wording, which it sounds horrible, but like in his mind, it's like not what he meant. But that's what I heard is what he said. So that was pretty bad. We talked to our counselor about that, worked our way through it. Now we're on the other side, but
For the record,
that was not fun times.
For the record, I was saying that I would like to be able to have conversations with other girls that are friends. That's it.
Like he has any friends. I don't even know what he was talking about.
All right. Anyway, the lowest point of our marriage for me is probably, I think it was our first year. There was times where we were like fighting quite a bit, and I guess we did not know how to work out our issues, and there was moments I thought she was going crazy on me. I'm like, "Dad, come on, I married a crazy woman."
Oh, right back at you.
But we worked it out. So if you're in that first year of marriage and you think they're crazy, there's hope.
Stick it out. You'll make it. It's so funny, too. People told us, like, "Oh, the first year's hardest. Get ready." And we're like, "Ah, that's not how it's going to be for us." But, woo.
Yeah.
They were right.
All right, highlight. What's the highlight? Our highlight of marriage.
Oh, there's so many. But, golly, there's a lot, I feel like. I mean, obviously having our kids was definitely a highlight. Like being able to make a kid together and raise them together has been so much fun. But also our honeymoon was like amazing.
Yeah, there's been so many like obviously great moments in our marriage, from like our wedding day to having our kids to just so many like divinely awesome moments. But to give you something that might be a little different than than the obvious, I'll say when we were moving into this house and I pulled up to this house before Sutton got here with like the U-Haul, and I remember it was just like such a moment of just amazingness. It was like, I don't know, you always picture like, living in your house with your wife, and it was like that day had arrived. It was just so cool to pull up to our brandly new built house, and there it was, ready for us to move in together and start a life together. That was a pretty cool moment. All right, well, that's it for today's Q&As. If you guys have any video topics that you'd like us to cover coming up, feel free to shoot them our way. We're looking for good content to put out for y'all. But in the meantime, this is Nate and Sutton sowing seeds of truth, love, and inspiration, one view at a time.
And that was our Q&A.